In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on October 5th, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Southern California versus Minnesota. One of the most anticipated matchups in the Big Ten this weekend takes place in the northern reaches as the 11th-ranked Southern California Trojans face off against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. This will mark the first time the two teams have met since 2011, when Southern California secured a 19-17 victory at home over their soon-to-be conference rival. Historically, Southern California holds the advantage in this head-to-head series, boasting a 6-1 record against Minnesota. The Trojans, coming off a sluggish start against Wisconsin last weekend, eventually found their rhythm and pulled away for a convincing multi-possession victory at home. Their offensive unit ranks among the best in the country, and that is likely to be the decisive factor in this game. The question that lingers is how Minnesota will manage to keep pace on the scoreboard. This season, they've turned to quarterback Max Brosmer, who has posted a modest 6/4 touchdown to interception ratio. While Brosmer brings experience as a 5th-year senior, most of his time was spent at the University of New Hampshire. No disrespect to UNH, but they don't face teams of Southern California's caliber. Against a team like Southern California, which thrives on capitalizing on turnovers, giving them a short field would be disastrous. Under head coach Lincoln Riley, Southern California's offense is highly dynamic, and they have a reputation for punishing mistakes. Although Southern California struggled earlier against Michigan and had a shaky first half against Wisconsin, they were able to rally in the second half to avoid back-to-back losses. Now, they head back to the Midwest to take on a gritty Minnesota squad. However, Southern California's offense clearly outmatches Minnesota's. The Golden Gophers were held to just 3 points through the first 3 quarters against Michigan, and it's hard to imagine Southern California suffering the same near-collapse Michigan did. While Minnesota may put up a fight in the early going, Southern California's offense is bound to get rolling and pull away in the latter stages. I predict Southern California will win by at least 10 points, and there's a good chance they could completely overwhelm Minnesota on Saturday night. Therefore, the Southern California to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game pick. PJ Fleck, the head coach of Minnesota, is an astute football mind. He turned around the Western Michigan program in just 4 seasons, going from 1-11 in his first year to an impressive 13-1 record 4 years later. Fleck understands that the key to beating Southern California quarterback Miller Moss and the Trojans isn't to engage in a high-scoring shootout. Instead, Minnesota needs to slow the game down by controlling the line of scrimmage, executing long, sustained drives, and dominating the time of possession battle. Expect Fleck to design plays that include screens and quick, safe reads for Brosmer to limit turnovers and keep the chains moving. Both teams have potent running games, with Southern California's Marks and Minnesota's Taylor each averaging over 5 yards per carry. Southern California went under the point total in their first Big Ten road game, and they may do so again as they continue adjusting to the conference's style of play. From my perspective, this revamped Southern California defense has demonstrated its ability to hold its own against high-caliber opponents. We've seen them play a tight contest against Michigan, losing 27-24, while securing notable victories against top-tier programs like LSU and Wisconsin. I anticipate that the defense will perform well against a Minnesota offense that has struggled to impress. On the other side of the ball, Minnesota's defense deserves recognition too. They're ranked in the top 10 nationally for total yardage allowed, giving up just 249.8 yards per game. They could present some challenges for the Trojans' offense at times, which might contribute to keeping the score under the projected total. However, the main issue for Minnesota is their lackluster offense, and that's why I'm inclined to favor the under in this matchup. A final score in the vicinity of 31-13 seems plausible, making under the projected total our full game total pick. Baylor versus Iowa State. Baylor is set to travel on the road to take on number 16 Iowa State in a highly anticipated Big 12 conference matchup on Saturday, October 5th. The Bears currently hold a record of 2-3 for the season and find themselves struggling with a conference record of 0-2. They have recently faced challenges, suffering consecutive defeats against Colorado and Brigham Young University. In contrast, Iowa State boasts an impressive record of 4-0 and has thoroughly outperformed their opponents, which includes a significant victory over Houston just last week. This matchup promises to be crucial for both teams as they navigate the competitive landscape of the Big 12. Iowa State's unbeaten streak of 4-0 overall and 1-0 in conference play can be largely attributed to their formidable defense, which has been nothing short of exceptional thus far. They have managed to limit their opponents to an average of just 7 points per game through the first 4 games of the season. Furthermore, Iowa State has excelled in pass defense, allowing only 102.5 yards through the air per game, ranking them as one of the best teams in the nation in this category. This poses a significant challenge for Baylor, whose offensive strength lies in their passing game, averaging 222.6 yards per game. However, they are likely to encounter substantial difficulties in moving the ball against such a stout defensive unit. On the defensive side, Baylor is giving up an average of 20 points per game, while also allowing 141.2 rushing yards per game. Iowa State's running attack is another strong suit, averaging 163 yards per game on the ground, which ranks 66th in the country. In terms of performance against the spread, Iowa State has been impressive, covering in 8 of their last 12 games. Additionally, their defense has recorded 7 takeaways, while their offense has been relatively disciplined with only 3 turnovers. In stark contrast, Baylor has only managed 4 takeaways but has committed 8 turnovers so far this season. A night game in Ames, Iowa is notoriously challenging for any team competing in the Big 12. Given Iowa State's formidable defense, I anticipate that they will effectively prevent Baylor from scoring significant points. The Cyclones have impressively held their opponents to under 10 points per game defensively and currently possess the second-best passing defense in the nation. With Baylor relying heavily on their passing game as their primary offensive threat, any neutralization of this aspect could lead to a lopsided score in favor of Iowa State, who have demonstrated their ability to score rapidly as well. The lack of a killer instinct from Baylor raises doubts about their ability to keep this game competitive against Iowa State. Therefore, the Iowa State Cyclones to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. In terms of total points, Iowa State's offense is the sole reason the over has hit twice in their 4 games thus far. Their defense is performing at an exceptionally high level, and I expect them to continue this trend against Baylor. The Bears will likely struggle to reach 14 points in this contest, while Iowa State is poised to dominate the clock at home. I anticipate that this matchup will be a low-scoring affair, as this aligns perfectly with the strategic preferences of head coach Matt Campbell and the Cyclones. Iowa State's defense has been stellar, allowing an average of just 7 points per game, while Baylor's defense is also holding opponents to an average of only 20 points per game. Notably, the total has finished under in 10 of Iowa State's last 12 games played at home. The Cyclones have proven to be particularly stingy against the pass, which may force Baylor to shift their strategy and rely more heavily on their running game. This could lead to longer possessions, ultimately reducing the number of opportunities for both teams to score. Given these factors, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Michigan versus Washington. We have an exciting rematch on the horizon as the highly anticipated national championship showdown is scheduled for Saturday night. The 10th-ranked Michigan Wolverines, boasting a record of 4-1 and 2-0 in the Big Ten Conference, will be making the journey to Seattle to face off against the Washington Huskies, who currently sit at 3-2 and have a 1-1 record in the Big Ten. Historically, Michigan has fared well against Washington, holding a 9-5-0 advantage in their head-to-head series. The last time these two teams met was in January, where Michigan emerged victorious with a decisive 34-13 scoreline to claim the national title. This upcoming game is a rematch of last year's national championship, yet both teams have seen significant changes in their rosters and coaching staff since Michigan's impressive victory 9 months ago. Given the current circumstances, I have some reservations about this matchup for the 10th-ranked Wolverines. Consequently, I am officially placing them on upset alert as they prepare for this crucial game. One of my primary concerns revolves around Michigan's quarterback situation, specifically with Alex Orji taking the reins. His performance has left much to be desired, as he currently boasts a completion percentage of just 55.6%, and has thrown for a mere 133 yards throughout the season. Should Michigan find themselves trailing at any point during the game, it could spell trouble for them as the clock ticks down. This scenario plays directly into the strengths of Washington's defensive lineup, particularly their formidable linebacking core and secondary. The Huskies are likely to crowd the line of scrimmage to contain Michigan's rushing attack while leaning on their elite cornerbacks to handle man-to-man coverage. Although Michigan might still find some opportunities to run the ball, the crafty defensive mind of Stephen Belichick should devise an effective game plan to mitigate Michigan's ground game. Playing at home gives the Huskies a significant advantage, and they have demonstrated a greater offensive firepower in this matchup. Michigan is currently on their second quarterback of the season, with neither option having delivered standout performances thus far. While the coaching staff remains optimistic about Orji, his past 2 starts have resulted in him passing for under 90 yards each time. If Washington manages to secure an early lead, it will severely limit Michigan's ability to implement their ground and pound strategy, forcing them to adopt a more aerial approach to close the gap, something Orji has yet to convincingly showcase. Additionally, Michigan's defense gave up 24 points to Minnesota in their home stadium last week, and they are now set to face an offense that is considerably more potent than that of the Gophers. Washington's Will Rogers, a seasoned 4-year starter from the Southeastern Conference, has experience on his side and previously passed for over 4,700 yards in a single season. Furthermore, Washington can effectively grind out rushing yards when the situation calls for it, as evidenced by Jonah Coleman, who is averaging an impressive 7.2 yards per carry and over 100 yards per game. Coleman has also shown he can perform against formidable Big Ten defenses, having rushed for 148 yards against Rutgers. As teams across the conference adapt to new travel arrangements, Michigan could struggle during their first trip out west. While I acknowledge that Michigan has been on a roll lately and that the Huskies have shown inconsistency, it's important to note that Washington arguably should not have lost their game against Rutgers. The mistakes made during that matchup were largely self-inflicted, as the Huskies turned the ball over on downs twice and missed 3 field goals, including one that would have tied the game as time expired. Michigan has shown a solid performance overall, but I believe Washington's defense is more than capable of rising to the challenge in this game. Although Michigan's defense has been commendable, they have exhibited some unusual weaknesses against the passing game. Meanwhile, Will Rogers has faced numerous strong defenses throughout his college career and has managed to remain efficient so far this season. Therefore, the Michigan Wolverines to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. As for the betting trends, Washington has managed to stay under the total in every game this season, but I don't anticipate this pattern continuing with Michigan coming to town. In their previous game against Northwestern, the total went under largely due to the Wildcats' inability to score, managing a mere 5 points. However, Michigan is a different challenge entirely and is unlikely to be limited to such a low output. The Wolverines may still be navigating their quarterback situation, but there's no doubt that they will find ways to establish a productive running game. Washington's defense allowed Rutgers running back Kyle Monangai to gain 132 rushing yards last week, and I expect Michigan's Caleb Mullings to match or exceed that performance, as he is currently averaging 108 yards per game on the ground. Even if Michigan resorts to short passes and gradual advances down the field, they should still score enough points to push the total over the projected line of 41. Washington, on the other hand, relies heavily on their passing game, with Will Rogers impressively throwing 10 touchdown passes without a single interception this season. While Michigan has gone over the total in 3 of their 5 games this season, I predict that they will once again surpass the total in this matchup. Thus, over the project total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.